Hi guys, this is Luetin, and today we're taking a look at some gameplay on Conquest Sane Crossing from the Battlefield Friends server. I was playing with John, and I think Neebs actually jumped in here. Neebs is also the noob, it's Brent. So yeah, I was playing this game, and this game comes into a few things we've been talking about. It comes into the game I was talking about with level cap when we were talking about 500 ticket service, and we were talking about the best kind of what makes a good map. And it was good that I had this gameplay because it kind of illustrated exactly what it was that we were talking about, and it was something that I mentioned when we were doing that discussion, talking about, you know, how a good map can play out and what makes a better map. Oh, we can't go through the container. So Conquest Sane, right, why is it better? If you think about how it's actually designed, okay, it's kind of a quad, right? We got 4 bases in a square, basically. But what's interesting is you have horizontal and vertical access routes to all of those bases, okay? Basically we can go around, but you can also cross across diagonally between the bases. So from here I can go from C to B, I can go from A to D, and you know, any combination in between. So looking what we did here, okay, moved up to the first base, moving forward, so you know, we can see we've got a tank flanked right around us. I get taken out straight away, and it's interesting just the way it plays out. So whilst I'm talking, just be thinking and looking at the ways in which we move around the map. Now, Sane Crossing, I would like to say as well, it's a really good training map. If you want to improve your team's gameplay, and I would also say that Conquest Domination on close quarters is really good because Conquest Domination is fast, so it helps you to start to be able to preempt. Maybe I should do a video on Conquest Domination, just showing, you know, and discussing and explaining. Oh no, the tank. I remember I was running up to the tank. I was just like, please, 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 and then he killed me at the last second. But anyway, yeah, maybe Conquest Domination would be a good one to do so that I can go through, explain and show. Now look, we're not in a good position right now, alright? We've lost 3 bases. Where's most of our team? They're at C. So from there, we need to spread out. But as I was saying to people, okay, the best thing about this map is that you can move to different areas. Whenever you're playing Conquest of any kind, don't just go for one base, because if you go just for one base, it's really obvious what's going to happen. Now you can see we're losing C. The reason we're losing C is because we've had to push out onto other bases to try and cap them up, and then at the last moment we're obviously losing C because they've pushed in to take that last one down. So if we had only gone for A, and you can see we're capping A and we're capping D, so we've spread out in 2 directions. Now that's really, really important, because by spreading out in 2 directions it means that you've had to split the enemy team. So that means the enemy will be now at C, they'll be trying to come back to A, and they'll be trying to go to D. Now you see they did cap C. Notice whilst we're still capping A, I noticed that we did not cap D, so I have already begun moving to B. Why? Well, because they'll be coming to A now, so it's important that I start moving to the next position before they get that opportunity. And lo and behold, B is defended by only one guy right here, and unbelievably I go for the knife, which we all know is a rare occurrence. So this is the kind of thing that we should be looking at in gameplay. This is the kind of thing that really makes a good game, is this kind of fluid, dynamic engagement. Now my guys have managed to hold on to A, and with a little support we should hopefully be capping B. But we only got that because I was taking the momentum and pushing forward onto the objective with speed, and that's something that people are really, really bad at in Battlefield. In fact, it's one of the worst things that people are bad at, is speed and moving and identifying things, and just in general, you know, making a choice about what they have to do next. There's a couple of things about choices. I could say this in any number of pretentious and fluffy ways, but basically you should just make decisions quickly, is what we really want to say. Also, yeah, you just noticed that the game transitioned weirdly there. I cut some of this footage down. This whole round ended up being about 40 minutes, and I basically cut it down to 30, because 40 minutes is a long time for kind of discussion or gameplay or anything like this. It doesn't need to be 40. That's one negative about these long rounds. However, I will say that because of the way that Sane is laid out, this hugely long round really didn't feel that long to me. It just went very, very nicely, and even though I'm not a big player of like large ticket games, this one worked quite well, and it shows that there are situations where they can work out. Anyway, thinking back on what we were talking about, people making decisions quickly, there is I think I made a video ages ago, and it's I'm sure people have seen the film Ghost Dog, and he has little quotations about samurai things. Look at this, what appalling gameplay there. Totally didn't get on that guy quick enough there, and didn't feel like going in there, so I left my teammates to pick it up. I was just like, I'm not getting in that door where he's going to be camping. I'll just leave him. Totally chickened out. But yeah, what we're thinking about is that you need to be making these fast choices, and it's something that I've started to notice. Because this is whenever I'm looking at gameplay, and I would like to talk a little bit as well about cutting gameplay from recordings as well, because it's something that I understand is always going to be necessary. Like sometimes you have a perfect round. I sometimes will have a round that's like 20 minutes long, and it illustrates exactly what I want to talk about. And I've seen Levels done this as well. He was doing one, I think, talking about suppressors. Yeah, there was people talking about suppressors, and he made a video and he had a perfect round for it. And I've had this as, oh, I got killed by Nebes. Ah, damn you, Nebes. But yeah, he had a perfect round, and sometimes I will too. And sometimes you don't need to edit it at all because there's nothing boring happening, there's no huge gaps. But then other times you will have gameplay where not a lot happens, or maybe it's just too long and you need to cut it down. However, okay, there is an important balance, and there is also an important reason why sometimes you can leave in things where there appears to be not much going on. And the reason for that is because often what you see when there appears to be nothing going on is actually much more important than the things which are all actiony and seem to actually be happening. And so looking back at gameplay and discussing it and thinking about the things that have happened in the game is really, really important when you think about spaces and running around. So often there's sections of gameplay where I'm just running from point to another point. What you can learn from that is looking at what the rest of the team are doing, also the space in which you make a decision. Okay, how fast do you react to a changing situation? How fast do you change a class? How fast? Okay, so guys coming in straight away, grenade. Okay, I wasn't just gonna sort of run forward, ignore them, go in. So I immediately came around that corner. I only saw these guys for about, I don't know, half a second, and I was like, they need to be taken out. Other times, because I could see that they were putting fire down onto them, I was also getting feedback from John on the ground now on A, saying, we're taking fire from these guys. So it was important to help them to do that, and it also helps clear these guys in this building out here, because you can see already they're starting to spawn more people. So it's important to get on that and take that threat out. But what we're talking about more often is more people pushing towards a base, or people making a decision to turn back or go forward or whatever, or generally maybe start moving to a different target even though it hasn't already been capped. One of the worst things that people do time and time again, and I'm not going to say that I never do it either, because everyone does mistakes and everyone has times when they're not thinking straight or they don't make the right choice. So it's not a hint that like I never make a mistake or that everyone else is always making mistakes. That's not it. It's more that it's something that everyone should be aware of, okay? And that's that often people, in the same way that they don't start looking for enemies unless they see a red triangle, you often find that people don't start moving to a base until it's already started being capped. Now that's not a good thing. Or similarly, they don't start moving to an attacking base until they've lost a base, or they've been killed, or whatever. Or they always will sit right on a base until it's capped so that they can get the points. Often when I'm playing Conquest, I will cap the base to about half or 3/4, and then I start to move, because I know there's a good 2-3 guys still on that base. They're going to capture it with or without me. It's more important that I start moving quickly to another base. Now, there's going to be people who play the game for all different reasons, and I had a video, the last video I posted, where there's a couple of guys and they're going, oh, you should just play for fun, you're making the game not fun because you take it too seriously. I've had this comment for like the last 12 months, people saying that. The thing is, everyone plays for different reasons, and some people are going to want to cap the points, some people are going to want to capture every base, get every kill. They're basically playing for themselves, not for the team. Now that's fair enough, I guess. I mean, everyone plays for whatever reason they're entitled to. They paid their money for the game, so they can play however they want to play, no matter how much it interferes with the team play for the rest of the game, okay? But the thing is that you kind of have to be aware of people like that, and that there's always going to be people. That's why I say that I know there's going to be a couple of guys who are going to cap that base, so therefore I make the choice to keep moving forward. So if you can make up the 25 or 30, 40% of your team who are always pushing forward, always putting the pressure, moving and reacting before everyone else, that means that that's going to give your team a little bit of an edge and an advantage, and hopefully you'll make up the numbers. It's not about killing enemies, it's about moving fast so that you can outplay them, and that's something that will often make a huge impact in the game. Think about games that you've played, alright, and think about things that will win it, okay? If you have a god damn these staircases, if you have a team, alright, which is always dominating, always getting all the kills, now that's probably going to be about, it's going to be about as much about your team not being able to return fire with them, because trust me, I've been in plenty of games where my team have barely been able to even get a kill for whatever reason, and that's just as frustrating as having a team who moves slowly. So it's never about one thing. That's the other thing as well. When I'm making videos and stuff, people always go, oh well, you know, you can't do that on this map, or if this was 64 players, or I've played games where you can't do that, or my team doesn't play like that, or I don't want to do that, or blah blah blah. There's a billion different comments I seem to always get when I'm making videos. The thing is, alright, you should always take any video anyone makes with a pinch of salt. It's not about the right way to do things, okay? There's never one way to do things. Because like I say, right, I'm saying that people should react faster and move faster around the map. That doesn't mean that you should be running point to point, running gun, just running all over the place as fast as you can. Kappa base run, kappa base run, kappa base run. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is look at a situation, okay? And if it requires you to move forward more quickly, then do so. But if you have 3 bases capped, it's probably going to be more important that you move just forward from your base, cover a position, or flank across the other side, maybe if your team is weak over there, and get some attention on those. Notice John got kicked out and he's rejoined the other team here, and proceeds to nicely teabag me. Thank you very much for that. So what are we thinking about? We're thinking about moving more quickly on general bases, the way people move around the map, and in turn looking at targets and so on and so on. So all of these things make a really, really big impact in the game, and then the movement thing is something that really I find doesn't happen enough in game. Now, I haven't been, you know, I haven't had so much time recently. I don't like to talk too much about my real life, like you know, because I always hate people that make random Battlefield videos and then start going, yeah, I went to KFC today and I got some, you know, my mother went out for some, what, I don't care, yeah, I'm talking about games here, I don't give a crap about your real life. So yeah, I've just had a busy week, let's leave it at that. Yeah, I had to go away, I had to come back, I had to blah blah blah, yeah, there's been a lot going on. So I haven't been able to get so much gameplay, and that in turn can start to affect the way you do things, because, you know, you can't stay on top of your game, you lose all the little intricacies that really make a difference in game. That's why when I get on Battlefield, which I hope will be later this evening, I'll probably play some close quarter games so that I can warm up. However, games like this are just as good because they give you everything you need, lots of action, lots of, you know, tactical gameplay, you get a bit of vehicle gameplay but not too much, and all this kind of stuff. In fact, almost these kind of things would be a little bit better perhaps for my server. And I also would like to say this month will probably be perhaps the last month I run my server if I don't have more people on there. I am going to make another separate video about that, but I'll just mention it here. Okay, I have for a million times advertised where my server is. I've told people what times to go on there. I've shown the gameplay that I run. I run 100% generally on rush maps. That even most of them I try to pick vanilla and car can maps so that they're easier and, you know, more people can get on them. There is a couple of armored kill, and I might take those off just to make it easier. But people are always posting on my videos. You'll see people going, Luetin, your server's always empty. Your server's always empty. It's not my fault. Yeah, I can't help that. If people don't want to play my server, they don't want to play my server. So, you know, I'm not complaining though. You know, it would be great if my server could be populated, but if people don't want to play and they don't want to play with me, even though I know I'm very busy, then, you know, so be it. So what I'm talking about there is yeah, getting back into the game and how it can affect you. And, you know, when you take a break, if you don't play every day, every night, and so on and so on and so on, it really does make a big difference to your gameplay. And you need to think about that when you come back in. Don't just jump straight into a game, a normal objective game, because it's probably going to be difficult. The best thing to do is warm up. Just play 2 or 3 close quarter games. They're only going to take you about 10 minutes. And that's what I will do. It will help to improve your gunplay and your general movement. And that in turn will start your brain thinking about how to move around the map, how's your team working, etc, etc, etc. But when we're thinking about these games as well, you know, this is a round in which I joined just as myself, so I don't have a team to back me up, but I have got team chat on and I am talking to the other people in my squad. I don't even know these guys. I'm literally just calling out positions, calling out where I'm going to, where I think we need to have a look at, etc, etc. And you know, something that other people say is, oh well, you know, a team with communication is always going to do better. Yeah, it's kind of true, you probably would. However, a good team, you shouldn't really need to communicate in order to be more successful, not in Battlefield anyway, because it's just about reading and looking and listening to what is going on. You should be able to see what other people are doing and work off of them in a kind of fluid, organic way, I suppose. And this is often what I say with my guys that I play with, like Raven and Noz. You should be able to look at what's happening, and you don't really often need to say. I know from playing games through the last 10 years, when I've played competitively in the past, that's how it is. You can call out things like, say, tank on the right, we're losing C, 4 guys at D, etc, etc. You can give information, and sometimes you could say, okay, we need to push here, or come with me, blah blah blah. But for the most part, a lot of the stuff that you can do in game, you can do for yourself just by looking at what's going on. Oh, I got caught out by Neebs again in the corner. But yeah, it really should be about, you know, learning using your own experience, and that is why what I said earlier, keeping in the sections of the game where things don't appear to be happening, that's the stuff that's important, because you see how the flow comes out. You go, okay, I moved across there, but if I hadn't come back. So things that happen in game, just because they're not kills, are just as important, and that's why I find the kind of rounds that I play, those ones where they're not full of killing, not full of destruction all the time, I find that you learn a lot more, because you look at the movement of other players, you look at where things have been quiet, where you've gone, where you haven't gone, and you know, you can take more away from that. But you know, every round is different, every team is different, and that's something that I try to get people to remember as well, is there is no straight fire way. I keep repeating this. A lot of my videos I seem to kind of end up repeating, and I you know, I make a few videos and then a month later I seem to be having to remind people of the same things again. I really think people need to think a little bit more, because I think that the thought element of the game, a lot of people sort of just kind of get in the mix, and you see from game to game it's kind of red triangle here, objectives over there, they just run, and there is not enough thought involved, and it really does make a massive difference to the game. If you're thinking about where you need to go, where you need to move, it's an interesting one that's been said before, is that some people have different skills in game, well, everyone has different skills in the game. I made a video ages ago and I said about what is your specialization, but when I said that, I wasn't talking about what specialization do you pick in terms of kit, loadout, etc, etc, but more what do you excel at in the game. And some people have said, well, you know, you can be a really amazing player, you can get loads of kills, you can be super accurate, you can be an amazing player in terms of game dynamic skills. Something that is equally as valuable is someone who thinks and is a good tactician and can outthink their opponent, and that means that they move a step ahead of the game constantly, so that, okay, you know, they maybe not win just as many engagements as one of those really top players, but they use the ability to think and move around. Now obviously, you know, if you've got the whole package, you're going to be an ultimate unbeatable player, but try this out. Try and think of other ways to play the game that aren't constantly about running and killing and just doing all of those elements. Battlefield is not the kind of game where that is the primary important thing. There's a lot of other stuff that goes on in Battlefield. That's one of the things that makes it so good. And the speed of the gameplay as well, you need to have enough action going on, but the very fact that you have pauses and breaks and it gives you time to think, this was one of the great things that I always used to say in Bad Company 2, was that it gave you enough breathing room to think about things that you can do. Right now you can be making decisions. It's like, okay, we've got C and A. Now I can see that we just kind of moved up from A, so it's unlikely they've gone back there straight away. We see that B was flashing, so we go back there. Now as I move to B, okay, right now I'm looking at B and I'm thinking, okay, we need to get back there to secure that, but at the same time I'm thinking, okay, are they possibly going to A? So I haven't moved down the left, I'm moving here so that I can move and switch direction if I need to. At the same time, I was keeping an eye on there on the left to D, which is why I kind of went slightly more towards that initially. I wanted to make sure that they weren't pushing straight up onto D. So you can see now that A is starting to go down. It's an obvious thing, and as I was moving there, I'm sure that in game I would have been, you know, sort of saying to my guys, okay, we need to keep an eye on A. If you're coming from a C, you can always think about where they're going to be coming from. If I get to B and it's clear, you want to be relaying that information. Or, like I said before, you don't even need to. If you're somewhere else on the map, you see that B starts to flash, okay? You see that A is still secured by us. The very fact that B gets secured, right, very quickly, it stands to reason that there's going to be some people going for A. So it may be worth at least keeping your attention slightly towards A, because there's a relative chance that there may be someone getting onto that. Now C's gone down, they've obviously moved across from D. Right now we need to be thinking, hey, you know what, B could be an option again, because they've got some pressure here on C, but we're taking that back, so they're probably going to be searching for a new target to get onto. If I was an enemy player, right now I'd be taking from D back down to B, or I possibly would be going to A. There's one guy, two guys capping on A, and I think you might see a couple of guys going to B right away. So you see, it's that kind of thinking. You can learn this from game to game. See, B starts to get capped. It's pretty obvious, it's pretty simple, it's all just, you know, mind tactics, working out where they're going to go. If we're capping C and they had it, those people are going to be spawning at D right now. They're not going to be coming back to C. A's too far, so they're going to be going straight to B. And that's why I say these kind of domination games that you can play out, just look at the games, learn them. You know, I often regularly say to my guys, I can predict where people are going to go to a good 30 seconds a minute before they actually get to it. And it's not even difficult stuff. It's not like you don't need to be some super tactical genius to work this stuff out. It's pretty obvious. That last base there that we just looked at was an absolute perfect example. You know, they had C. We started capping it. They were in control of D. Now, A is too far away, and it means crossing through this way. B is just a very short run down the road, and there was very little people down there. So it's absolutely obvious that that's where they're going to be going towards. And this is why I say, when you're in a game, and when I'm in a game, I will often start running to a base before it's even been capped, because even though I have no marks and no communication with any other team members, you know they're going to go there. Where else are they going to go? Okay, the only other option would be that they would spawn at A, or spawn at their base and then move to A. But even so, your teammates that are over at C are going to be able to move straight onto that and help secure that. So B is still going to be the preference, you know, the preferential one to go for. So this is the kind of thing. It's basically just a logical process of elimination when you're playing a game, of working out where people are going to go to. You just look at where they are, look at where your team are, look at the kind of layout of the map. Okay, what can you see? What's marked up? Think about what you would do in that situation, and then react accordingly. So it's really not that difficult. So all of these things that I keep saying in videos, keep telling people to do, keep giving people advice, alright, it's not difficult stuff. It's really kind of simple stuff, but it just requires people to think beyond, you know, where's that red triangle? So as we approach the end of this video, I guess the main things I really want to point out are that 500 ticket games are not necessarily a bad thing, but it's much more about how the teams play out and how the maps work. I also want to say that, you know, you don't need to be a highly coherent voice communicating team to have a successful round. You just need to have some logical awareness about where the enemy are, where your team are in relation to you, and, you know, work off of one another. You know, in the simplest form, basically think about what you're doing, right? Don't just run forward thinking kill, 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 because what's going to happen is, while you're so blatantly obsessed with that, someone's going to run around behind you, cap all other bases, and you'll lose the round. So if I could get you to take anything away from this round, this video, and I haven't spoken too specifically about this round, we've just talked generally about Battlefield and moving around the map and how you play the game and so on and so on and so on. Okay, I'm going to do some more specific videos really soon, but what, you know, the most important thing that I could really do is make more, you know, make more curt, strong decisions, yeah, make snappier decisions, make stronger choices. Okay, when you have a multiple range of choices to make in game, don't spend too long thinking about it. Make a choice and stick with it, because it's going to be a stronger choice. That is so true, especially when you're moving up on bases in rush and things like that. Okay, just go for it. Don't spend too long thinking, oh, is there someone over there, shall I go the right direction? Just get on with it, just go, because the time that you take trying to work out all the little intricacies of what you're going to do is the time that you're going to lose. But don't confuse that with the time it takes to think about things. You need to be thinking all the time tactically about where to move, where to go, blah blah blah. Okay, but when it comes to making a choice in game of should I go to B, should I go to D, make that choice. Okay, now I just want to digress slightly and mention that people always say how I don't have fun in games, or how I'm taking too seriously, or how I always play objective and I should play for myself a little bit more. Well, this moment came in right here, because the tank was constantly around, constantly destroying things. I was like, oh, I'm sick of this tank. Didn't happen to have any anti-tank mines or anything. I only had C4, and I was like, do you know what? I'm going to put C4 down. I'm going to wait for the tank. So let's just see what happens. I know the tank's coming really soon, but this is so lame for me, because it's genuinely not the kind of thing that I regularly do, but I did have an immense amount of satisfaction. I mean, we always see like the whole Jeep thing, people putting things on Jeep, but C4 is such a good thing. It can be used very creatively, and, you know, I've literally just slapped it down on the road because I didn't really think that people were going to be coming. I think placing traps and mines is going to be a video that I can do, because thinking about all the different situations where you could come across these kind of things, you can place C4, for example, much more creatively than people often do, and it can be better for trapping targets and stuff they don't spot. If you just throw it down on the road like I've done here, now the only advantage that I have here is that as they come over the brow of the hill, it's kind of in the crest, like it's in the gully rather of that sort of bridge here, so it's going to be less easily visible just as they come up over there. But one of the best things is when, there we go, one of the best things is when you have like destroyed roads or destroyed ground, things like that, you can place it actually into that, so that again it's very, very tricky to see. But as well, if you've got blown up scenery, if you've got like a bit of a tree, a bit of a rock, a box, whatever, if you can place it within that, it's going to make it more difficult for them to see. Anyway, that's a really side point. It's got not very little to do with what we've been talking about today. Yeah, okay, I mean, I've just been repeating the same things and trying to get the point across like I have done in my videos for such a long time, and we really are right at the end here, but it all just comes down to the same thing. And I guess the very fact that I have to just constantly repeat the same things goes towards, the whole point of what I'm trying to make, is that people really need to just keep learning the same things. So be generally tactically aware, move fast, make strong choices, and hopefully you'll have a better game at the end of it. So that's all I've got on this one, guys. I just let this end of this round play out. What else have I got coming up? I've got a load of videos coming up. I've got all sorts. I've got my shows coming on. If you haven't checked out my Borderlands 2 episodes, try and check that out. If you haven't checked out my Doom episodes as well, I know that a lot of other good YouTubers have been watching the Doom series and enjoying it. If you haven't checked that out, please do, because I'm hoping that some of these other games that I'm playing are going to be, something that people can pick up on. I know that people love my stuff for the Battlefield, but there's some other good things on my channel too, so I hope you can take some time to have a little look at those. Also, by the way, my Battlefield map design has done quite well. It's in the top 10, and currently people are voting on which is the best one overall. Pleased to say that as well, that one's #1 at the most, so if you haven't thrown a vote, please go to the Battlefield blog on the the normal Battlefield Premium site, and you can drop one there. Thanks for watching, guys. See you for some more very soon.